Because obviously I know it, but when you put it into a different term, I stopped seeing it from like a medical point of view, and I saw it in real life kind of, point of view.
You're probably getting really excited about it because
It's
you're
football.
learning about American football.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
And it's better than kicking a ball around for 90 minutes and the score's 1-0.
Yeah, it's actually true. Yeah, this is exactly true. Lots of people tend to attempt to fix their problems, their chronic illnesses, fix their lifestyle, fix their health, right? We know why they fail. And it's not through lack of trying. It's bigger than that. And I always feel like you have a very, very good explanation for it. And obviously this kind of goes out of my pay grade to some degree because it's what we refer to as American football or American football. Rather than the real football that you actually play with your feet.
Real football,
right?
yeah.
Well,
No.
it is play with your feet, but you explain it.
I mean, at a very baseline, it's the grass is always greener, and it's people looking for quick fixes, right? Oh, what I'm doing is wrong. The answer has to be somewhere else, and I have to get the quick fix, and I have to get the one thing that is going to solve all of my problems at one time. They gotta swing big and go big or go home, and people do this all the time. That's why they go to the doctor, and that's why they get medications that they think are going to be the magic fix to their problems. Right, when they actually have lifestyle and environmental problems that need to be fixed, right? So what you were referencing, the American football, the real football analogy is what you have to do is the little and often, to use a British term, the little and often.
The little and often.
Yeah, the little and often. Whereas if you're playing football, or you're watching your football team, and there's a punt, the ball goes down on the 1 yard line, you're backed up against the end zone, and everything's messed up. This is your body getting thrown out of whack, all the symptoms, you get diagnosed with all these things. You're on the 1 yard line. You're up against the wall. What most people want to do is they want to do that go big or go home play, and they want to just throw it all the way down the field and go for a touchdown. But do you ever see football teams doing that? No. They're on the 1 yard line, and what do? You hand the ball off and you run just to get a few extra yards, right? And then what do you do again? It's second and 8, 2nd and 7. And you hand it off again just to get a few extra yards. Now you have some room to play with, right? It's 3rd and 3, right? Do you try to take a shot downfield on your own 7 yard line? No, you run it again. And then you get the first down. And now you have all this room to be able to play with. Whereas if you try to take that shot downfield on the 1 yard line, you're probably going to get a safety. You're probably going to get sacked in the end zone. So if you try to take those big shots or look for those quick fixes or look for those, those big magic things that are going to fix it, it doesn't exist and it doesn't work. And you're going to keep getting suppressed on that 1 yard line and you're never going to get out of that. What you have to do is step by step by step by step by step, start moving down the field. And then once you have a little bit of wiggle room to be able to maneuver, you can start to look in different directions. But when you're so far suppressed that you can't even move and that you have all these problems and you have all these diagnoses and you have, there's no quick fix. There's none. It doesn't work. You have to change your lifestyle. You have to change your environment because that's what got you here in the first place. As long as it's not genetic. If it's genetic, that's something completely different. But if you weren't born with it, you at some point in your life got pressed up against the 1 yard line. And your only goal needs to get out of that in little and often steps instead of trying to take those big shots downfield that are just never going to work. That's why people get stuck in that hamster wheel for years and years and years and years on it.
Yeah.
That's what you were talking about, right?
Yeah. It's because they keep trying to make that giant leap that they just can't make. And I guess what you're saying here is there is no magic pill, there's no magic potion, and there's no magic injection or a magic wand. You have to do little things and you actually have to perfect yourself to be able to get yourself out of the position that you're in. You can't just sit there and hit and hope, or throw and hope in this case. In football, throwing the ball.
Stay in the pocket.
Yeah, I know the stay in the pocket. Stay in the pocket, but I still don't understand it's football.
Football.
With the hands.
Yeah, it's football.
It's really stupid. But it makes massive amount of sense. And I think for our American friends, they're definitely going to be like, hey, I understand that. That's football.
And you have to do everything right as well. There's no room for error when you're at the 1 yard line. So if that means for the time being, for example, just you drink coffee all the time. If you need to cut out coffee for the time being, you need to cut out coffee. You can't mess up, right? If you need to stick to a specific diet for the time being, then you need to stick to it. You can't mess up because you're at the 1 yard line. Once you're at the 10, the 20, the 30, you can start throwing those plays. You can start taking those shots downfield. You can start to maneuver a little bit, take some risks, see what's good, what's not, and data collect from that. But you don't have that ability once you're stacked up against the end zone. Otherwise, you're going to get a safety, and that's going to be terrible.
Yeah, it's basically like the small battles win the war, right?
Yep.
That's essentially what you're saying.
Exactly.
Except you've said it in football terms.
Yeah, football's way cooler.
Football.
Yeah, football's the modern gladiator, the modern war.
Yeah, I think that that makes a lot more sense. Specifically for people that like kind of sometimes trying to translate doctor speak, you know, or some of the gobbledygook even that we can come out with at times that's a little bit too much is probably quite helpful. So
yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and like what you have to remember as well is like when you're at the 1 yard line, there is a defense. Like you are playing against people that are keeping you back and trying to push you back. This isn't just like an open field, and you're just trying to see if you can pass the ball and connect, or run the ball with no consequences. There are people or forces trying to suppress you, whether that's the people around you, right? That are just like, oh, you're working on your health. Like, that's kind of weird that you're wearing those glasses at night. And then that just like, that gets at you, right? That gets at you. And over time,
or it's just
like,
the environmental stressors.
Environmental stressors.
Yeah.
It's the doctors that, the wolves in sheep clothing and sheep's clothing that you think are on your side, but really they don't know what they're talking about. It's like, oh, this is the problem, right? Maybe you should take this medication to try to fix it. They're leading you down. They're trying to convince you to throw that shot downfield, and you're just going to get sacked. You're going to get safety to keep going on that analogy. But you are playing against the defense. You cannot forget that for even 1 second.
I think a lot of people forget that.
You are getting
everybody
attacked.
Does. As they're trying to fix one thing, they don't realise that they're, berating themselves or barraging themselves with their same environmental stressors. And this is where, like, maybe we get into the thing of supplements again. Oh, but if I take this 10, 15 supplements, I'll be better. It's like, did you stop drinking the alcohol? Have you stopped consuming the seed oils? Are you still eating the same diet? Are you still sitting up at night playing computer games? Are you still watching TV at 1 a.m.? You're still only getting 5 hours sleep. Those 15 supplements are really, really not going to do you any favours whatsoever because you haven't actually corrected your environmental stresses on the outside. I think that's what people are forgetting, yeah. To be honest with you, it's even opened my eyes to it because obviously I know it, but when you put it into a different term, I stopped seeing it from like a medical point of view and I saw it in real life kind of, point of view.
You're probably getting really excited about it because
you're
football. Learning about American football.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
And it's better than kicking a ball around for 90 minutes and the score's 1-0.
Yeah, it's actually true. Yeah, this is exactly true. But that was good.